Hey guys, welcome back to Blue Haven. It is super important that you watch this video about building a fire in the fireplace. One, to make a fire quickly and easily, and two, to make sure your fire is warm and effective throughout your stay. You may notice we have a humidifier here on the hearth. This is super great to run during the winter months because when you have the fireplace and the heater going, it creates super dry air and it makes you feel kind of yucky. So we're gonna go ahead and run this if you'd like to help keep the air more moist. Let's start with talking about the materials we have available for you guys to start a fire. So over here in this gold bucket, you're gonna see fat wood. Here in the large opening under the TV, this is your actual firewood. The small box is kindling. And down here underneath the table by the window is your newspaper. To start, you're gonna need to grab a little bit of paper. About that much. Then let's talk about the kindling that you need. You're gonna need 3 different sizes of kindling. Now, if this box is empty, just take a little tour around the property and pick up some different size sticks and that works just fine. So you're gonna need some small pieces like this, some medium pieces, and some larger pieces. And then we're also gonna use some sizes like this to help us build. So let's grab those. Get our little thing situated. And then also, you're gonna need to grab a piece of firewood out of the firewood box. So right now there's 2 different kinds of firewood here. There's pine and there's oak. Here's the difference. Pine is the best kind of firewood to start your fire with. It burns hot and fast, so it catches really quickly and gets your fire going. If you use oak, your fire will never ever start. Oak burns low and slow. It's what you use after your fire is established and the fireplace is hot. The only way to tell the difference between pine and oak is the weight. Oak weighs about 3 times what pine weighs. If you're gonna buy firewood up here, every place around here, like the firewood stand down the road, the gas station, the liquor store, they purely sell pine. So let's grab a larger piece that we're gonna put on top once our fire gets going. Were you never a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout? It's okay, I'll teach you how to start a fire. So first things first, let's open up the fireplace. We're gonna take our paper and we are going to crumble it up and place it in the middle of the firebox. Now, on top of that, you're gonna use 4 pieces of fat wood. It says right here, please use only 4 pieces per fire. That is super important. These are not like Duraflame logs. These are not man-made. These are actually natural. So fat wood is natural. It comes from a certain kind of tree that's soaked with the oils. So you only need 4. If you burn more than 4, it will create way too much smoke and black out this glass and coat the whole fireplace with gunk. So we don't want that. Only use 4. Also, we do not allow Duraflame logs or any kind of fire starters. All you're gonna use is the fat wood that's provided. So let's use 4. We're gonna put 4 pieces of fat wood on top of that paper. You wanna build it kind of like a teepee. Okay, next on top of that, we're gonna start with our smallest pieces of kindling. And if it doesn't fit, just go ahead and break it. Just gonna put it on top, going from smallest to largest. We're gonna get our larger pieces here. And finally, you wanna do your largest piece of kindling right on top. So now that we have our setup complete inside the firebox, I'll talk to you really quickly about this damper and the door of the fireplace. So you wanna start your fire with the damper all the way in. That means it's getting the most oxygen. And oxygen feeds fire. If you don't have oxygen, the fire will go out. So you wanna make sure this damper is all the way in. And once we light it, we're gonna close it, but we're not going to latch it. We're gonna close it and leave it cracked. That allows for more airflow. So let's get this bad boy lit. All you're gonna take is a match. And we're gonna start by lighting just around the outside edges of that paper. damper's in. Paper is lit. We're gonna gently close the fireplace, but not all the way. Remember, we're gonna leave it cracked to allow for some more airflow. So you can see that fat wood caught. That's why you don't want to use more than 4 pieces. It creates a huge flame. So we're just going to use 4, and it catches and creates even a better flame than one of those man-made fire starters. So when you guys arrive, you'll notice that the firewood box is completely full. So you are more than welcome to use the wood that we have here, but please, before you leave, replace it with firewood that you buy up here. It's really important that we leave it full so every guest has a good supply of firewood. If you use this and didn't bring your own, you can buy firewood at the gas station, the liquor store, or the firewood boxes, and the info for that is in the welcome manual. If you bring your own wood, super awesome, but it's important that you know what kind of wood you can and can't burn. You can't just walk around your property and pick up random logs off the ground to bring to burn. Firewood has to be seasoned for at least 1 year and completely free of moisture. If you bring firewood that's wet, not only is it going to be hard for you to start the fire, but it's going to create tons of smoke and clog up the flue and turn the glass in the fireplace black. So once the kindling starts to collapse and get going, we want to grab the fireplace poker, and we're going to move all of that kindling into kind of a nice new little pile before we put our larger piece of wood on. So the key is to always open the door of the fireplace very slowly. That helps prevent a ton of smoke from getting into the cabin. So notice I'm opening it really slow. Don't just shake it open, you'll get a face full of smoke. Go nice and slow. You still may see a little bit of smoke escaping. And you want to kind of pull with the fireplace poker that kindling into a nice new pile. There we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and put our larger piece of firewood right on top. And we're going to continue to leave this fireplace door cracked. We usually leave it open for about 20-ish minutes, just until we're sure that fire is raging. So see how when we crack it, that flame really starts to get wild. So you may notice there is a knob right here above the damper that I already told you about. So this knob controls the blower. The blower is what blows that hot air to create heat in the cabin. So all you do to turn it on is turn it to the right, and you'll hear it click. Oh, but nothing's happening. Here's why. The blower does not turn on until the fireplace has reached operating temperature. So we have a magnetic temperature gauge right here on top of the fireplace. So you'll notice there's 2 sides that are black and 1 that is white. This says best operation. So this is temperatures from 100 degrees all the way to 900. You don't want a fire that's too cold or too hot. You want one that is right here in the best operating temperature. If you have a fire that is too cold, you'll create a ton of creosote buildup and fog up the glass with smoke. We don't want that. And if your fire is too hot, I'll teach you how to fix that. So if your fire is too hot, what you're gonna do is pull this damper out. Remember, fire needs air. If it's too hot and burning like crazy, you could potentially catch the roof on fire and the chimney on fire, so we definitely don't want that. To choke out a fire that is too hot, all you do is pull the damper out. That will slow down the flow of oxygen and help you control the temperature of your fire. So you may notice that the top of this fireplace looks like there's some stuff stuck to it. Never, ever, ever, ever put anything on top of this fireplace. It gets super hot. Anything you place on here will melt. No socks, no gloves, no mittens, nothing. And if it melts onto here, there's absolutely no way to get this off. If you need to dry your clothes after playing in the snow, you can hang them over the upstairs railing, or you can hang them on the hooks on the skis. That's a great place to dry out your clothes. So the fire's been going for a while now, and now it's time to stoke it to break the coals up. So we're gonna slowly open that door to prevent lots of smoke from coming out. And we're gonna use the fireplace poker. We're gonna get in there and move those coals around. Kind of spread them out a little bit. Now, sometimes when you do this, the fire seems to go out. So we have a blower on order that's a hand crank that will help blow air to the base of the fire to keep it going. So because we don't have the blower yet, and when we get it, it'll be positioned right here. You'll be able to find it easily. You can blow on the fire to get those flames going, just adding more oxygen to keep the fire going. So now our fire is up to operating temperature. Usually only takes 15 or 20 minutes to get it really going with the door open, but this time it took us about an hour. So if you look at the temperature gauge on top, you can see it's at the best operating temperature. And we have the door cracked. We're gonna go ahead and add another piece of wood. So we're gonna slowly open that door again. We're gonna place our new piece of wood right in there. And this time we're gonna close the door all the way up. And now the blower will kick on. We don't have a fireplace gate if you have a little one, but we have a 1-year-old, and what we do is we just go ahead and build a little barrier with logs right around the fireplace. We put one here, a couple across the front, and one here, and that keeps little hands from reaching across and touching the hot metal. On the morning of checkout, you'll need to clean the ashes out of the fireplace. So to do that, there's a metal bucket outside underneath the swing. You're gonna use this shovel out all of your ashes into that bucket, and then dump that bucket full of ashes into the metal trash can that's underneath the power panel right outside the back door. We get a lot of questions about whether or not wood burning fires are allowed outside. That is a hard no due to the risk of forest fires and damage to the deck. So because we know people like to sit outside around a fire, we purchased a propane fire pit for you to use. You need to bring your own propane tank for that, and there's instructions on how to use it on our YouTube channel, as well as instructions in our welcome manual.